Hello there, dear views. Welcome back to my channel. Kindly subscribe, click on the notification bell to remind you when I upload a new video like the one below. Once upon a time, in a small, sleepy village nestled at the edge of an enchanted forest, there was a baker named Eleanor. Eleanor was known far and wide for her delicious pastries, cakes, and, most of all, her famous cupcakes. Every morning, the scent of her fresh baked goods would drift through the village, luring both young and old to her shop, the Sugared Dream. One day, a mysterious old woman, dressed in tattered robes and a cloak that seemed to shift and shimmer like shadows, entered the bakery. Her eyes, sharp and cold, locked with Eleanor's as she approached the counter. "I've heard tales of your delightful confections," the old woman rasped, her voice as brittle as dried leaves. "I want a dozen cupcakes, but I require something special." Eleanor, always eager to please, asked what she could do to make the cupcakes unique. The woman smiled a crooked smile and pulled out a small vial filled with a glittering black liquid. "Add this to your batter," the old woman instructed. "It will make your sweets unforgettable." Eleanor hesitated, but the woman's stare was unyielding. Without a word, she handed over the vial, paid for her order, and vanished as quickly as she had appeared. Curious and with a twinge of uncertainty, Eleanor decided to add just a drop of the mysterious liquid to her next batch of cupcakes. As the cupcakes baked, the aroma was even more intoxicating than usual, rich and sweet with a hint of something otherworldly. The next morning, the cupcakes sold out faster than ever. Every person who tasted one exclaimed how incredible they were, soft, decadent, and unlike anything they'd ever had. But as the day wore on, strange things began to happen. Mrs. Haversham, the kindly old woman who lived across the street, ate 3 cupcakes in one sitting and suddenly found herself unable to stop cleaning her house. She scrubbed and polished until her fingers bled, all the while muttering, "Just one more spot, just one more." Young Tommy, who had always been shy, ate a single cupcake and became so bold and daring that he leapt from the roof of his house, convinced he could fly. Luckily, a hay bale broke his fall, but the village was in an uproar. One by one, the villagers who had eaten the cupcakes were affected. Some became obsessed with sweets, unable to eat anything else. Others fell into strange trances, muttering secrets they had never shared aloud. One man even began to speak in rhymes, unable to stop. As panic spread, Eleanor realized something was terribly wrong. She rushed to her bakery and examined the vial the old woman had given her. The once black liquid had turned a sickly green, and it pulsed faintly in the dim light of her kitchen. Desperate for answers, Eleanor ventured into the enchanted forest to find the old woman. The trees whispered as she passed, and shadows danced along her path. After what felt like hours, Eleanor arrived at a small, crooked cottage deep in the heart of the woods. The old woman was waiting for her, sitting in a rocking chair with a knowing smile. "You've come to undo the curse," the woman said, her voice no longer frail but strong and echoing. "I warned you, child. My potion was never meant for idle baking. It's a power too great for human hands." Eleanor fell to her knees. "Please, I didn't know. How do I make it right?" The old woman leaned forward, her eyes glowing faintly. "The curse can be broken, but only through sacrifice. You must bake a final batch of cupcakes, using the last of the potion, and offer them to the forest spirits. Only they can take the curse back." With no other choice, Eleanor returned to her bakery. She mixed the batter with the rest of the cursed liquid and baked the final batch of cupcakes. That night, under the light of a full moon, she carried the tray deep into the forest. The spirits appeared, shimmering shapes of light and shadow. They accepted the cupcakes and whispered their thanks. As they consumed the cursed treats, the air around them crackled with magic. One by one, the spirits faded, taking the curse with them. Eleanor returned to her village, exhausted but relieved. The next day, the villagers awoke free from the strange compulsions. The curse had been lifted, but Eleanor's once bustling bakery now stood quiet and empty. She decided to close the Sugared Dream, leaving behind her days as a baker. Though the villagers recovered, Eleanor was never the same. She had learned the price of meddling with dark magic, and the old woman's warning echoed in her mind for the rest of her days: some sweets are too dangerous to taste. And so, the tale of the cursed cupcakes became a whispered legend, reminding everyone that not all temptations are worth indulging.